give a what? We don't give a what? Get it on the floor, get it on the floor. Get it on the floor, get it on the floor. You don't wanna party, then your ass gotta go. You don't wanna party, then your ass gotta go. You can ride to this mother, bounce to this mother, freak to this mother. Let's get it on. Get it on the floor, get it on the floor. Get it on the floor, get it on the floor.
Once again, it's the darker nigga, and it's darker nigga. Break apart a nigga, but the dog is bigger under stress. So unless you wanna get blessed to the chest, the slugs from the spit for west. Best of a bubble with a hurt, rolling in the top 6 mother feet of dirt, rolling in my hands stay dirty, cause I play dirty the mob way. You don't know, find out the hard way. When digging job is never done, hand on my business, how it come.
On Crew Radio, we are live, direct. We are in the house, and the house is packed. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. In case you didn't know, this will be our final show of this season. We'll be back in January, but we had to do an election wrap-up show. We thought last week was going to be our final show, but because things have been so ridiculous, we had to come back and do one more wrap-up show and also talk about where we think things need to go from here, where things should go from here. What are the next steps for us as the constituents of these people that we voted in? Like Ron said, let's get them in, and after that, let's put their feet to the fire and make sure we getting the things done that we need to get done. So it's no more time for excuses. It's time for us to get ahead of it and do what we got to do. So first, Chandra, I want you to update us on what's going on with the elections, what's going on with the lawsuits, because I know that's been a big, huge question for a lot of people, and a lot of people have been wondering, is there really a pathway for him to be able to, stay in the White House after, he got evicted, like somebody on Section 8 who lost their Section 8 who's going to become a squatter. So they want to know what's the percentage of that happening? How realistic is it? Because we know he's going against a lot of the election norms that we have had in this country. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and some of us are going to get out the way and let you talk about it for a minute. Go ahead. And I'm not going to put you on solo before you ask.
I was. Okay, so first of all, we've all been watching it and we know what's going on. When the main state, Pennsylvania, was called, which is the one that took Biden over, they were talking about some of the lawsuits and some of the holdup counts and different things like that. And what they did was, once they figured out the total of what was left and the total that he was behind, then they were like, even if all of these go to him, he's done. He still wouldn't win that state. So that's why they were able to call that state. There's a couple of lawsuits that are in play. One in particular, y'all, I think it's so messed up. This one is for 3,000 votes in Nevada, and these are military ballots. And basically, they're saying that they use a permanent address because they're all over. They're military families. They get moved around. So they have some of their addresses as AFB, which is Air Force Base. Mm-hmm. And they have those listed as discrepancies. And like we were talking about this on off air, and Sheila was saying, just even to get some of the stupidity, it's like, did you guys go to law school? Like, we're looking at this stuff like this doesn't even make sense. I guess anybody can sue anybody. I mean, I could sue you guys and say you voted for me. Like, I have to show proof for it to be. So unfortunately, these Republican candidates or these election people are just grasping. That's what they're doing right now. So is there a chance if something happened where Philadelphia was overturned? Yes, there would be. But the chance of Philadelphia being overturned is 100% no. So we're going to start with that. Some of the other states that are still in play, Georgia is going to a definite recount because it's under 5.5% marginal difference. They're only recounting like about 1 million of the ballots because most of them are a touchscreen computer, so they just have to do the reports. So we're not dealing with this 2,000 hanging Chad situation where they're looking up stuff in the microwave. We're just talking about provisional ballots, mail-in ballots, those types, and usually all the experts agree there's no more than 100% of a couple hundreds difference. He's at 14,000 above in Georgia, so there we go with that. We also know with Georgia, the runoff candidates have to get over 50.1%. The candidates have not get 50.1%. So That's going to run off January 5th. And then we'll hopefully be able to get those 2 Senate candidates going. Stacey Abrams is on the case, so I have faith that that's going to happen. But that's where we're going. There's a couple of them here and there. So far, the 10, 11, 12, I've been hearing different numbers that have been brought to court. The judges have been doing their jobs. We're not doing any of this. Republican legislators, Republican states, Secretary of States have upheld the integrity of their election processes. And I think I said this last week, Donald Trump, he did a service. The service he did to us was to tell everybody that it was going to be fraud. So they took into account that, and then also put their closed circuit TVs, had a Republican and Democrat looking at the contested ballots. They put so many things in play that it's just what they're saying is widespread. There's no evidence of widespread. So for those of you that think just from the counting of the ballots being overturned, no, that's not going to happen. He did get Alaska though. Ivanka was celebrating that, and with those 3 electoral votes. And the ironic thing about that was she was getting the information from the Associated Press, who pretty much called the election. So I don't know what she has going there. Oh yeah, he got the 3 votes, but he still won it. I'm not sure what Republican mindset is there. The other thing that I want
that's her escape home.
I didn't hear you.
That's her escape home.
It's weird. I don't know. It's like, and just like you mentioned too, Ron, and I've been saying this. So down ballot, they're okay with all the Republican senators and congressmen and stuff that got their stuff, but they didn't. Just, I guess, I don't know. There was like some cutoff vote fraud for Trump. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So I know some of you might be.
Everything they didn't win was cheating.
Say that one more time.
I say everything that they didn't win was cheating.
Everything that they didn't win was cheating, and that's, I guess, where the widespread fraud comes in. I know some of you might have been looking at some of the Constitution rules that talk about what happens after elections, and because, like Dane mentioned, and I think Quincy talked about this too, so many of these things are traditional norms that he's just completely broken. He's been doing that his whole 4 years. We're like, well, what's going on? Because one lady came up to me and she said they're making people show their ID to verify their votes. A lot of these processes that we're hearing about, these are normal things to go through provisional ballots, to cure the ballots. If your ballot doesn't have a signature, come in and show who you are. All these things are normal that happen after the main counting, but because everybody's eyes are on every single ballot, we're hearing about this stuff. So all this stuff is normal election procedure. There's no evidence of widespread. People have been saying that over and over. So some people are concerned that the Republican legislator could give their electors their vote. So basically, in a nutshell, what happens is when you guys vote, you vote for who your electors are going to pick. Most states have mandates that say that you have to pick the popular vote. So as we all know, yeah, this is true. We've been talking about this since the beginning, the 25th Amendment. I'm sorry, I had to say that because I'm wondering why nobody has called. I think Nancy Pelosi was talking about it, but I think that was more shade than anything because they should have got him out. But anyway, so the popular vote chooses the electors. They say, hey, we're California. 55 of us are going to vote for Biden. Well, they can choose Republican electors to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to vote for Biden. I'm going to vote for Trump. Okay. So chances of that happening is like a very low percentage. But basically if people started doing that, in which the majority of 99.9% of people are not going to do that. If people started doing that, he would need like over 30 people to like basically defect and say, we're not going to pick what the state picked. And they're not going to do that. So then they're saying, okay, like say we did get those people to go against it and there's some type of tie in the realm of that world, then it will go back to the Senate. And we know the tiebreaker for the Senate is Pence. So then he would have to break the tie. But again, we're not getting there because we're not going to have 36 people. One person did it, I think, with Hillary, and they were like, no. The Supreme Court was like, do what you're supposed to do. So what they're trying to do is...
Supreme Court, though.
Yes, but the Supreme Court has been surprising us. They have been they've been doing right. You know, if you've been following what they've been doing, and they're not, I mean, even so, it's state Supreme Courts. There's not, you know, they have to tell, and they have their own rules. So it's kind of hard to kind of blanket it because all states have their own rules. But in general, like Dame said, like these are like norms, election norms these are election norms that people follow. So the next stage is between next week and the end of the month and December 1st. A little bit before the electors meet, everybody certifies their votes, their votes. The Secretary of the State, the governors, all of them sign off on it. They say this is who we choose. Electors go in there, say who we chose, and then the electors go in there in December. They say who we chose, and then we just wait until food gets dragged out of the White House. So all of this right now, these are all just the things that are happening now. Because I know they're talking about he's not helping with the transition team and he's not doing all that stuff. Those are just all things that people do as a courtesy. I mean, there's a whole government that needs to be run, and we need like a smooth transition. He needs to get his team together. But last thing I'm going to say, because I know I've kind of taken over this area, but I am very personally impressed by the way that Biden is handling it. He's just like, I'm just going about it. He was like, oh, it would be nice, but he's been vice president before. He knows how it works, and he's not trying to have it hinder the progress of the nation. So he's like, come January, he's like, it is one president at a time. Y'all see, he's already starting to blow stuff up. So we're just trying to hang on for those past 70 days. And you know, on January 20th, he's a regular citizen. That would be like me walking into the White House and saying, I'm not leaving. So federal police gonna come. We have a federal police, we have a Secret Service. Biden knows what to do. So we'll leave it at that. So just to allay any of you guys' fears, the actual real technical signing and process, nobody, there's no governing body that caused the elections, but they each have instances where they have people talking to the Secretary of State, their Secretary of State's getting the numbers. They each have each side. That's why Trump came out there acting like that before, you know, because he already knew. Same with Biden. Biden came out there. He was down by like 500,000. He was down by like 500,000 votes or whatever. And he was like, I'm Pennsylvania. We're good. Like, I'm good in Pennsylvania. I was like, what secret knowledge does he have?
So, like, yeah, wait till the mail-ins come in. We
right.
all right.
He knew something. So, you know, again, it's no electing government body that, you know, officially does these things. But they know, and they know how it's normally done, and he doesn't officially have to concede. He doesn't ever have to show his face again. For all we know is just January 20th, he's out, and that's it. So
yeah.
Hopefully, I answered those questions you asked me to answer, Dame. I'm not sure if I did or not.
No, I think you did a great job. Thank you for answering those questions, because I wanted you to try to alleviate a little bit of, because I know a lot of people are really, really worried. Just because Trump is, like you said, he's breaking so many of the electoral norms right now, that, you know, some people are rightfully worried. Like, for the people that are worried, I wanted you to go through how the Constitution kind of isn't on his side at this point. And one thing you can depend on, for the most part, because I would say before Trump era, but for the most part, one thing you can depend upon is old school GOP judges being constitutionalists. There are certain things they're not breaking for nobody, including Trump. And that's the original Constitution stuff that they really, really care about. So that's one of the reasons I wouldn't worry. Quincy, I wanted to talk to you about this. Biden has released his Biden and Madam Vice President Kamala Harris have released their first 100 days plan. Tell me, what do you think about the plan? Tell me, is there something that you saw that you liked, something you saw that you didn't like? Do you think it's enough for the first 100 days, or do you think it needs to be a little more aggressive? Just give me your thoughts real quickly on the first 100-day plan you saw. Oh, hold on. You muted, bro. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Well, the first 100 days, they're going to be dealing with COVID. So all that other shit is cute. I mean, it's just nice to say, but COVID is for to take precedent over all that stuff. I like the fact his chief of staff that he hired was his chief of staff when he was VP, but he was also the guy that led the Ebola virus task force. So he's already getting the right people to be in charge. As far as 100 days, like I said, all that is cute, but we ain't gonna really know what he's gonna be able to do in those 100 days until we know what those 2 other Senate seats gonna be, because that's gonna determine a lot what he's gonna be able to do and can't do. No, I mean, it's pretty much everything I expected. He's gonna go after COVID, immigration. He talked about criminal justice reform. Just it's the typical stuff I expected him to say. So I don't really have an issue, but like I said, I won't get too excited until I know what his 2 Georgia Senate seats are going to be, because that's going to really determine what he's going to be able to do and can't do.
Okay, Ron, have you had a chance to look at the first 100 days? And hold on, let me unmute you. I got everybody muted. I'm over here like what they should have been doing for the debates. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
No, I mean I skimmed. I got a chance to skim through it. But like Quincy said, it's gonna relate to COVID. Yeah. They got to heal the country first before we can definitely start diving into politics, so to speak, economics and all the other stuff. So
it's almost like I think it's a good idea. It's hard to get to anything else as long as that is lurking over the country, right? Because
right.
Yes, because as long as you have COVID, right now, and I figured there would be a spike after the election, honestly, because you had so many people out in the open. Then after the election, you had so many people celebrating. So I figured.
If you remember, Dr. Fauci predicted that it was going to be bad during flu season, which is during this time, because most of us going to be inside, because as the weather starts to change. Yeah, we're going to spend less time outside. So they expect this. The problem is. They also expected we'd be a lot more prepared, but now you got a president who lost, who really don't give a fuck about nobody now. People just gonna have to really hang in there till January.
Yeah. Also, those rallies,
right. And then you also have to. Yeah, I was about to say that.
All right.
Because the spikes are happening in those areas in which he was going for. Going at those rallies.
People, not politics. Like for real, because I know people want to think that it leans a certain way, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. Like the political ramifications of this for Black people in particular, and the ramifications of even COVID for Black people, because that's something I don't think we talk about enough. Sheila is big on advocating and talking about medical racism, and the way COVID has been handled and the way COVID has been hitting our communities, to me, is a huge part of showing that disparity, not only of how COVID hits us, but how COVID attacks us worse because of those other medical conditions that a lot of us have regarding high blood pressure, diabetes, the usual suspects when it comes to health and Black community, because of food deserts, a lack of whole foods, and I don't mean the restaurant, I mean a lack of real whole foods for us in a lot of those places. I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine the other day. He was saying like, "Yo, my car went out, and I didn't realize how limited my resources were to eat good food around my neighborhood, because I was used to driving to go get the things that I wanted and things that I needed." He said, when my car went out and I could only ride my bike to certain places, he said, I had such a hard time really trying to eat healthy. Like, it was a task to try to eat healthy in my neighborhood. And I think that's an issue in a lot of places, and something that, we need to start discussing, and something we need to bring up. I see your comment, Marcus Boss, about people on Twitter complaining about enough being directed to the Black communities. I think, like Quincy said, until we get COVID under control, I don't think we're going to be able to get anywhere on any other part of our agenda. But honestly, what's funny about that is I have never seen another first 100-day platform ever that mentioned systemic racism. So it's kind of funny to me that they're like, oh, it's not enough being done for Black people. But I'm like, this is literally the first time that has even been introduced into a plan for us.
The thing is, if people have paid attention to Biden, when he mentioned systemic racism, he always mentioned healthcare, criminal justice reform, education, housing. So if you have ever paid attention, when he says systemic racism, he just don't talk about criminal justice reform. He talks about education, housing. So if you see, that's why I say systemic racism covers all that.
Yeah.
So I think I know people want to see more like lines or sentences or whatever, but systemic racism cover everything.
Yeah. And I want to get into something too, because I know we've been talking about, what's been going on basically with the Democrats' response to Trump and all the shenanigans, because it seems a little weak to me. And I know they're trying to be dignified and all that, but sometimes at some point I'm kind of sick of them being dignified. I need them to come back and say this bitch got to go, just something like that. And then the next part for me is, I don't want us as Black people to get caught up, because I've been seeing this a lot lately and thinking that only Republicans are racist, thinking that systemic racism only lies on the Republican side. I don't want us to fall into that trick bag, right? I want us to understand that there's been systemic racism under Democrat legislators. There's been systemic racism under Republican legislators. So I think I want us to really start to understand that and understand where our power lies, right? Because we just seen with this election, where our power really lies, and we can actually sway the vote. Because even if both candidates have literally half of the white vote, almost half of the Latino vote, the one that wins is the one that gets the majority of the Black vote. So we know we have some power to wield. So I want us as Black people, one, to learn how to wield that power. And then also I want us to learn how to impress upon the Democrats to yield their power, because we have seen, and I've been studying the last few administrations and what's been happening when they had a Republican or a Democratic Senate. So whenever the Democrats have the White House and the Senate, they play very nice. They do a lot of things where they want to make sure everybody's included. It's all inclusive. They pass Republican bills. They pass Democratic bills. They pass the bills that they think are for all of the American people. That's what I see the Democrats do when they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, when they have all three executive boards. Now, vice versa, flip that to when you see Mitch McConnell under Barack Obama and they have the power, they wield that power. They don't try to do anything for the Democratic side. They don't try to do anything for anybody but their constituents, and they wield that power and they don't let it go. And I wish we could impress upon the Democrats to do a better job of wielding that power. And I think that's why, and I'll open up the floor to Mars for this one. I want to talk to you about this, Mars. It seems to be there's a civil war brewing between progressives and moderates.
I've been saying that.
I know, that's why I want to talk to you about it, between the moderates and progressives in the Democratic Party. And so many people saying Joe is going to be a really moderate president, and they're trying to push a lot of the progressives out of the way, or trying to quiet a lot of the progressive voices. And I know you can't do that, right? And I know we don't need to do that, but tell me, what do you see about, what this war is looking like and how you think it's going to pan out? And then I want to go to Quincy to talk about how we have to try to figure out this war, because I know you said, Quincy, in some places the progressive message really works, because in places like New York you have a lot more progressive Democrats, but in places like South Carolina, them old school Black Democrats, they not that progressive. They not for LGBTQ. They not for, so they a lot more conservative. So we got to figure out that balance. So I'm gonna go to you first, Mars. Tell me what you see brewing between the progressives and the moderates.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think we're going to get those two seats because of this infighting. We can't get on the same page. Like, we literally have a Democratic president, and they're fighting about, well, what cost us in certain areas. They can't get on the same page. They can't, and it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to push back on that just a little bit. Because like Chandra said, you got boots on the ground with not only Stacey Abrams. I've been seeing a lot of other. Andrew Yang said he's moving to Atlanta until
we're on the same page with that. I agree with all the stuff that's going on. The problem is that the top can't get on the same page, because there's already this, exposure of conflict between Nancy and AOC, Nancy and choke on how things are being done. Like these are infightings that should not be leaked out to the public. It should have been a uniform stance.
Well, this is the
And-
problem with that. AOC had to come out publicly because they have been trying to shut her up behind closed doors, right? Like
Right.
AOC, they like their whole thing with AOC is you need to shut up and learn how to play ball. You too young. You don't need to. You don't get to speak yet. So I know that's why her Tlaib and all them kind of came out, because if y'all don't know, they voted back literally. All of the top Democrats voted back the exact same people. Chuck Schumer is back. Nancy Pelosi is back. Mnuchin is back. Like they literally voted the exact same people back. So they are not really trying to be progressive. They are not really trying to see change. And me and Sheila talked about this. But people got to understand the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, the Maxine Waters of the world, the Chuck Schumers, they actually benefit from a lot of Republican policy. You have to really keep that in mind when you're having these conversations. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying we have to figure out, because one, you're going to need progressives if you want to take the House in 2022. You're gonna have to have progressives. Period.
Right. I agree with you. You are going to need progressive. The problem is that an AOC works for big cities, the New York, the LA, the Atlanta, the Chicagos, the other cities. An AOC personality does not work for them. Like she would not work in like a South Carolina because they're used to that. Let's play nice. We don't want to ruffle the feathers or whatnot. There's two distinct personalities, and rather than look at it like present it like we have this approach for these major cities, but we also have this approach for these smaller cities to ensure that we're not ruffling the feathers. There's no commonality in anything that's being done. The one commonality is healthcare and the criminal justice reforms. That's a commonality which speaks to everyone, but they can't get on the same page to speak on the same thing because AOC wants to talk about the Green Bill. At the end of the day, there's also egos that come into play, and motherfuckers need to step back and understand that their egos are going to undo everything. Right now, the two most important people are those individuals in Georgia. Warnock and I can never say that the white guy's name.
Ossoff.
Yeah, those are the two most important people. The third most important people, I take that back. They're the second and third. The number one most important person, Stacey Abrams. Get behind her. Listen to whatever she says. All that bickering, fighting, whatever that's leaking out, mute that. Mute that until January 2nd. Because that shit is what's going to be the undoing. And I hate to say it, I really feel that this infighting is going to cost us those 2 seats.
Quincy, what do you got to say to that?
Well, it all depends. What's the message in Georgia? Because that's the issue with a big tent party. Like I said before, the Democratic Party has to try to appease way too many people. And the demographics different, even with black people. Like you mentioned, and like I said, you could run on a progressive platform in California, in New York. But what happens is if you Jamie Harrison and you're going against Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, they gonna attach him to AOC and scare the shit out the conservative black people down there in South Carolina. And you can't run on defund the police down there. You can run on defund the police in New York and Chicago and California, but down there you can't run on defund the police. And that's where there should have been a meeting with people like that, because all Lindsey Graham did was attach Jamie Harrison to the most progressive people.
Yeah,
he want to pack the court. He want to do all like. And Jamie tried to no, I think that's a mistake. No, he was still attaching him to AOC. So she have to be conscious of her messaging because it hurts people in other places. Now, I don't think they are. I don't think that the progressive is at fault. I mean, that probably has something to do with it because I do think the defund the police did hurt Jamie Harrison down there. But that's where you have to come to a joint message. Like, look, because We got people in more red because look at the places where Democrats lost seats: Oklahoma, South Carolina, Iowa. These are all places where you pretty much, these are areas that Trump won. So if you're running on defund the police and you're a Democrat and your opponent is using that against you, that's going to be a problem for you. Instead of running on maybe reallocate funds, because people in California, New York, Chicago, and I mean, even that was Joe Biden's met. I mean, Joe Biden said that. He said, "I'm not for defunding the police, but I'm for reallocate those funds and put them in different places." Basically, that's the same thing that people who were saying defund the police were saying, except the messaging as far as people get turned off when they hear defund the police, and that was the issue down there. But when you look at it, to me, what I saw is every single person who ran on Medi-Cal for All won a House seat. Every single one. The Democrats who didn't run on Medi-Cal for All lost. So I think that's the thing that stood out more to me than anything. That every single House member who ran on Medi-Cal for All won. Those who didn't lost. Jamie Harrison, he ran on Medi-Cal for All. He also ran on defund the police. It's a different beast in the Senate, but I think in certain areas they have to come to a joint message, because I think you could kind of run on a more progressive platform in Georgia, because a lot of those people then came from here. That's why Georgia is in play, because a lot of people in Georgia that came from here and have came from the Northeast. So there's people in there, and then what they did, they got a lot of the college kids who came from more progressive areas. That's why I think the progressive message could work in Georgia, and I think that's why it did this past election. So I do think they have a chance to take those seats. But as far as the party coming together, I think they have to come in certain areas in the midterms. They have to be conscious. Okay, if we're gonna talk about criminal justice reform or whatever our message is going to be, we got to make sure that there's a message that we could talk about in Chicago, LA, and New York, and in Texas and South Carolina and Georgia. And so I think that's the thing they have to be more conscious of. But I think the Senate seat's definitely in play, because a lot of them, if you ever watch a Laker game, when the Lakers play the Hawks and they scored, that shit sound like the Staples Center. That's how many people from LA then moved down to Georgia.
Yeah, you're right about that. Ron, what do you think about the civil war you see brewing between progressives and moderates, and what way do you see the party should, like in your world, what way do you see the party should move forward to try to close this chasm, or try to give everybody what they need? Because we talk about this often. It is such a big banner. Like, Republicans have very easy messaging because they have a very narrow base. Basically, you could run on Christianity, racism, and taxes, right? You can run on abortion, racism, and taxes, and that's really the Republican base. Honestly, when you come to the Democrats, you have to worry about those moderate Democrats, the blacks, the whites, Latinos, Asians, LGBTQ. You know what I mean? Like, there's such a huge
Native Americans, everything.
So there's a huge banner that they're trying to placate, that sometimes they end up fumbling the message, right? They end up trying to make such a wide banner message that they miss a whole bunch. What do you think? What do you see?
I think they need to target the things that affect everybody. Healthcare is number one. I mean, if you can tackle COVID, and you can get a reasonable type of cure, or I guess there's going to be some vaccines that they're saying Pfizer just came out with. I was watching some news show that was reporting Pfizer has a 2-shot cure currently that's about 90% accurate. And so I think that's going to be the first step is getting people healthy, showing people that, hey, even if you have existing conditions, you can get some form of health care. Then you can move forward to the next thing, which is criminal justice, which affects more people. So you got to stop worrying about what the progressives and what the moderate Democrats are going to do and start just getting on code with, here's the message, this is what we need to do. You guys put those petty things aside. We'll talk about those in-house and we can move forward. But if they continue to allow things like that, that messaging will get out and the Republicans will use it against them. See, even when they got power, they can't even control it. You know, they don't know what to do when they get a little power. And so maybe we ought to be the ones running the country, because whether it's right or wrong, at least we are on one accord. And so I think with the people in position, once everything settles down, we'll be fine. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but that's my hope. That's my hope.
Republicans having their own civil war, so
right.
they have.
Yeah. Talk about that next too. So the Republicans are having their own civil war, because even after this, they're saying there's going to be they're still going to be the party of Trump after this, which is why you see people like Pompeo, Trump Jr., and certain other Republican leadership still touting that they think Trump is going to win, because they're trying to stay in the good graces, because they're trying to actually keep Trump's base for themselves when they make a 2024 run. So they're saying there's going to be the Republicans of old, which I guess you could say the Lincoln Party Republicans, and there's going to be the Trump, because I think a lot of people don't understand, even after Trump is gone, the Trump Republicans don't leave. Those people who voted for Trump don't leave with him. They're still,
and they want that 70 million.
Right.
To be honest with you, they just want to have to flip 10 million people.
Did you see Marco Rubio comment today?
No, what'd he say?
He said,
y'all miss me, player.
He said the GOP need to rebrand. They need to be multi-ethnical as far as reaching out to other races and things like that. I was like, they for the dog his ass, because that's not what they're about to do. Because see, the struggle that the Republicans is going to have a problem with, Trump is still about to have rallies.
Yeah,
he's still going to be.
He don't act like he the president. Why he not?
Yeah, and the issue is you have other Republicans who are going to want to run for president, right, and Trump is not going to get out the way. So they already having their own little issues. That's why you got the two Republican senators telling the Secretary of the State in Georgia to resign because he counting ballots.
Right.
And that Secretary of State is Republican, ain't he?
Yeah. Oh, the AG in Arizona just said Trump is going to lose, Biden is going to win Arizona, and Trump lawsuit won't do nothing about it. So
and they Republican too, right?
Well. Republican. Same thing in Pennsylvania. So they actually, but see, the people who have seats, who's trying to keep their seats, are going with the Trump talking point. The election was rigged, and like you said, the tradition, the traditional Republicans are constitutionalists. Mm-hmm. They believe in the Constitution. That's why Trump is actually losing in these lawsuits, like Chandra said. Is that most of those traditional Republicans, they're gonna go by the Constitution. So they have their own. I mean, here I kind of like that. It might be a 4-party split. we need some.
Well, yeah, because that's what's going to happen. Because, like I said, I think the Lincoln Project is going to continue to build. They're going to continue to go after their coalition, and they are actually like the GOP that Mark Rubio is talking about. I've seen them being very inclusive of people of color. I've seen them being very inclusive of other denominations and stuff that I haven't seen from the regular GOP. So it's going to be interesting to see how that split goes, and it's also going to be interesting to see how the regular Republicans who aren't Party Lincoln, how they going to split that beef between the Trump Republicans and the regular Republicans who are going to try to run, right?
Yeah. Because see, I was telling Chandra this in 8 elections, so that's since 1992. That's 28 years. The Republican presidential candidate has won a popular vote one time. So
they're not popular.
Yeah, they're not popular.
They just know they know the system.
Right.
They know how to game.
Now think about what I just said. Since 1992, only one Republican presidential candidate won a popular vote. That was George Bush.
Bush Sr. That was Bush Senior.
No, Bush Jr. 2004
Bush Jr. Okay.
against John Kerry.
Oh shit, that's why.
And so the popular vote is on the Democratic side. It's just now really understanding the system and utilizing it.
Demographics where we need to be.
And that's why I said in our inbox, Democrats right now, we might have to just take the L with South Carolina right now and focus on the base in those particular areas that just won the election.
Yeah,
like focus on your base in New York and Chicago and Philly and Milwaukee and Atlanta, where all these counties was the ones that prepare you to victory, because you're not gonna really change South Carolina right now.
Well, speaking of the base, Quincy, what do we have to do to get the Democrat Party? And this is what I was talking about when I was talking about that old guard. Some of them probably needs to go, right? Because you have a lot of people in the DNC who have been saying the DNC has been super out of touch in regards to how to market the Democratic Party right now. Like they said, they still spending more money on TV ads than they are on digital. And and Republicans been killing the Democrats digitally. They've been killing them with digital marketing and we are, the Democrats are super behind in that.
They still running the election like it's 2000.
Yeah, and they still run the election like it's 2000, and they still paying like white consultants to tell black people, tell us how to reach black people. Like, what do we need to do? What can we do to get them to change that? Right? Like, what can we do to say, hey, stop giving money to these people because it's not reaching us, it's not working, they're not talking to us. You got a lot of
like Hollywood Shuffle.
Yeah, you got a lot of disenfranchised black people. You got a lot of disenfranchised voters. Even I saw a Puerto Rican. I don't know if y'all saw Roland Martin. I wish I could remember the young lady's name. Sorry, it escapes me. But she was talking about how she's one of the Puerto Rican activists on the ground for the DNC, and she said she was begging them to send somebody to Florida. She like, yo, there's more Puerto Ricans in Florida than there are Cubans now. Like they said Cubans aren't the swing vote in Florida anymore. So send somebody down here from the DNC to talk to the Puerto Ricans, and that's a whole other million votes y'all can get. They didn't do it. She said she begged them to go to Pennsylvania. And
Biden actually won the Puerto Rican vote like 61 and like 34. It was the Cuban vote that he lost. But if more Puerto Ricans would have came out,
exactly,
he probably wins Florida.
Well, what I think that they need to do is take a cue, hopefully, from what we've been hearing, that Biden is going to have his administration be more reflective of the people who support him and really the country. It's more diverse. So hopefully the DNC can take a cue from that and say, look, we need to figure out, we have access to these numbers. I'm talking about us. So we can look at it and see, like, this is the percentage of people here. Like, you could have told them, hey, go to Florida. That's where the Puerto Ricans are, whatever. You know what I mean? We need somebody to come out and like say, hey, this needs to be more reflective of your base. And I think that comes with recognition. He started that. Hey, look, the African-American community has been there for me. They've always had my back. We started with these little things where that recognition is coming out. And I think not only does administration need to be more reflective of the base, so the DNC needs to start that, because to be honest, somebody said this. There's some Republicans, those regular Republicans that people like. They like Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney came out and was like, Joe Biden won the election. Somebody, I think it was Quinn, said like Mitt might be back. You know what I mean? Like,
I think Mitt Romney is the biggest threat if Trump doesn't win.
So if we have Republicans like that, like we pretty much know Joe Biden is going to be a one-term president. So we need the DNC to start right now. Like we need them.
This thing is that I think the top of the ticket get it. I think Biden actually gets it. If you look at his staff, the people who he's been listening to, the people who have advised him, I think he gets it. The thing about it is, can you get Nancy Pelosi to get it?
Nope.
And I think that's where the problem lies, is that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer haven't got it.
And that's the thing that's kind of surprising, because Nancy has this reputation of actually recruiting and grooming senators.
Yeah, exactly. And so because I can look at the people that Joe Biden had. Like I told y'all, I noticed like 6 months ago, I was like, oh, he's listening to people. Remember, we pointed that out. We realized
because the way he started saying stuff, his messaging started.
I mean, just if you look at legalizing marijuana, that's all Bernie Sanders. That's Bernie Sanders stuff right there. If you go look at some of his junior college free for everyone, that's Bernie Sanders. So he's been able to, like, he didn't do what Hillary did, where Hillary was like, I'm just running on my platform and I'm ignoring all this, and we kept on complaining on the show like she's not connecting with the 19 to 28-year-olds at all. Because she completely ignored all Bernie shit, and that was Bernie's crowd right there. Whereas Biden has a little bit of everybody, and of course Simone Sanders was who was Biden senior advisor. She was also Bernie Sanders' advisor. So I think at the top of the ticket they get it. It's the motherfuckers in the House who kind of have this, we've been doing this for so long, you need to listen to us. But I think they don't realize the politics has changed on their ass. And I think Joe Biden is going to find out. I don't mind him saying like he want to unify the country. That's fine, because I think that he have to run on that, because when McConnell and them start shitting on him and realize like, look, you just going to have to just go for yours and get yours, at least he could say, I made the attempt. I tried.
Also, and also too, we talked about this. We know that the Republicans had to overwhelmingly, enough for it to make some type of a difference, vote for him and not Trump, and still have those House seats still. So he got some Republicans, and a lot of them. But just to this comment here, they need to woo the independents more. I think that they must have done a really good job in this particular campaign to do that, because there was a point, I think it was maybe like 3 days before the election, that they were saying at the same point in 2016, there were 13% of people that were undecided. And at this point, it was 3%.
Yeah.
So 3%. I think that
minds was made up.
Yeah, I think they did a lot of, I think the independent voters, a lot of them did go with Biden as well, because that made a big difference last time. Y'all know that October.
But the biggest thing with independent voters is healthcare and unemployment. They just want to make sure they go to the hospital when they sick, and I keep my job.
Well, and you know what? I want to go even like to what Jasmine's saying. We need to woo independence more. I think we actually did a good job of wooing independence. I think we need to stop putting so much effort into wooing white moderate women. And I think that's where because we have been putting a lot of, I seen that the DNC put a lot of marketing and money. That money that could have been going to the Puerto Ricans in Florida, right? That's money that could have been going to the Puerto Ricans and the Latinos in Pennsylvania and Texas. They've been spending so much money trying to market to white suburban moms, and it has not, like you said, Quincy. I think it's been a level 55% for Republicans, no matter what.
With white women been voting between 50-55% Republicans since 1968.
So we need to stop trying to covet that vote, right? We need to stop covet that vote and build the new coalition with the Puerto Ricans, that because she was saying how a lot of the Puerto Ricans who are in Florida were Puerto Ricans who were displaced, right? So then that's why you got this whole new demographic of Puerto Ricans in Florida, this whole new demographic of Puerto Ricans in Pennsylvania, this whole new demographic of Latinos in Texas. Those are places that if you can get those numbers on your side, you can win a lot of elections. Like you actually could run a table if you did the right thing. And I feel like the DNC, they're doing everything, like you said, Quincy, running elections like it's 2005, that they are missing the mark on so many things. And Willie just made a great comment. He said, that's the racism in the DNC. And he's right, because for them, it's more important to try to covet white suburban mom than to go after Latinos, Latinx, who is right there for you. Like that demographic is right there for you to go get. And they're more undecided than white suburban women.
Yeah, well, see, I think that like you mentioned it, and I know they mentioned it on Roland Martin's show. You got to have, if you want advice on how to get the black vote, you need to have black people. You can't have like Nancy Pelosi is not an expert on how to get the black vote. I don't give a fuck how long she's been there.
Right.
She definitely don't know more about Georgia than Stacey Abrams.
Right. So
And-
her even tweeting talking about don't go more like what the fuck are you talking like that's why I said like when they asked Joe Biden about it, he said, look, you know, if they need us to campaign, I'm just gonna ask them what they need, and me and VP Harris do whatever is necessary for us to go ahead. So he had like, okay, just let us know what you need and we'll do it, because the question was him and Kamala was going to go down to Georgia and campaign for the senators. He's like, well, we got boots on the ground down there. We're going to ask them what they need, and then we're going to go from there. Nancy Pelosi has his approach. Oh, this is what you need to do. Wait a minute. You got people. The reason why Georgia is even in play is because the people who's already down there, like Stacey Abrams, have done the work. Yeah.
So what you should be saying is, Stacey, what do you need? And whatever you need, we'll give it to you, and get the fuck out the way.
Right. I think at the same time, Nancy's job in this whole thing was to be a thorn in Trump's side. Now that is over, she needs to understand that her time as speaker is done.
I agree. I really agree, because I'm seeing so many things with her.
Thank you.
I'm seeing so many things with her being out of touch, and more. I mean, first of all, we talked about this back when she asked Karen Bass to go make sure they all had dashikis after George Floyd died. like we saw then just how out of touch she was with black people, the black vote, the black voters, and our needs. Because like, we don't give a shit about you wearing a dashiki and kneeling. Like, get up, go in there, and give us the laws that we need. We don't care about this stupid symbolism. Get up, go in there, and get us the laws that we need. But now, like you said, Quincy, I feel like she overstepped when she was trying to tell them how to run their race when you don't even know the constituents of Georgia, because you don't come down off that hill. Even the way she talks to AOC, even the things she tried to tell AOC +3 and what because they have boots on the ground. A lot of people don't know AOC and her constituents was going door to door for Biden as well, even though they don't agree with a lot of his moderate policies. If it wasn't for them helping to galvanize a lot of those places, like Tlaib, she helped get Minnesota, right? She helped bring Minnesota in for him. She got reelected. Like, so there are certain things and certain situations that we need to, like, the Democrats need to figure out how they're going to navigate this new world, this new demographic, because this ain't even the year 2000 Democratic Party.
And also they need each other, because the progressives can't win without the moderates, and the moderates can't win without the progressives.
Period. Straight up.
Because as you can see, the higher the voter turnout, I've been saying this for a long time, higher voter turnout, Democrats win. When niggas don't vote, Republicans win. And that's just pretty much the bottom line. So they need to get on the same page, because you don't want either side to feel like, well, you know what? Why should we go out there and vote? Because if that happened, then you end up with a Trump, and we right back to ground zero again.
Yeah. Go ahead. You say something, Rob? Go ahead.
It's like one more thing in which we have not talked about, but how are they going to combat all the misinformation that's about to be coming?
Good question.
Oh, you talking about from Trump,
whomever, GOP? There's going to be a lot of. They already started with Warnock when they were bringing up his this divorce thing.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that you got to stick to the issues, because that Hunter Biden shit didn't land a blow.
No, it didn't. Right.
I mean, and they tried, because you got to stay on the issues, and that's the trick. If they could get you off the issues and have you defending shit that you don't need to be defending, that's less time talking about the issues. Because where people see drama all day, they hear gossip. That shit is all day throughout social media.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to know about, am I going to be able to keep my job? And I want to keep my health care. Can I be able to buy a house without being discriminated against? Like, that's the shit people want to know about. So But what they need to do is stick to the issues and let them go ahead and talk about that bullshit. Because I mean, they did everything. They went as far to say they found a laptop with Hunter Biden just making up shit. They was trying to get that to land. That shit can land a blow. Got to stick to the issues. Especially right now, it should be easier to stick to the issues during the pandemic more than anything. Issue your health care. Republicans still trying to take away your health care in the middle of a pandemic with no plan, with no backup plan. Just trying to snatch your shit.
Let's talk about. Do you guys want to talk about that really quick? Since that went to court, and I don't know if people were curious about that. The health care.
I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's talk about that real quick.
I started to read up on it, and I saw what Justice Roberts said. I said, so go ahead, Chandra, break it down before I.
Okay, so basically, what they're trying to say, there's parts of this is the third time that it's been to the Supreme Court.
They're trying to get rid of that shit.
They're trying to get rid of it with no replacement, by the way. The whole bill is 900 pages or whatever. I mean, I don't take stock in pages, but I'm just saying, just to give you guys some context. So there's one portion of it where some of you may know this from your experience with it, but they when they set it up, they set a tax penalty for people who did not apply for Obamacare. That was supposed to be an incentive, like, okay, apply or you're going to get a penalty. And it was very low, like a very low penalty. So then they fixed it and made it zero. Like the penalty is zero. They still are saying that it's unconstitutional to have a penalty, even though it's zero. So now Quincy could tell you what some of the justices have been saying this week.
So what Justice Roberts said is that you shouldn't be able to get rid of an entire law because of one little part. Like Chandler said, it's 900 pages. The law is completely 900 pages. So because of this one law, I mean, because of this one part that might be deemed unconstitutional,
that they fixed.
That's been fixed, you get rid of the entire law. Believe it or not, Justice Kavanaugh agreed with Justice Roberts. I don't know who Justice Kavanaugh is. That's one of the Trump appointees.
And he likes beer.
Yeah. and the only thing they really needed was like one more like person to come over to their side, because last time it was 5-4. So most of the justices kind of agreed that one little part should negate the entire law.
All three of his appointees, Amy Coney, like they all questioned it. Like
his appointees. So y'all think he had a shit fit now? Come March, when they decide that vote on it, he's gonna have another shit fit, because the people who he appointed to destroy Obamacare just because it was Obamacare, not because it was a huge issue with it, he's gonna have another shit fit.
Well, you know, you have to really have some really huge constitutional issues with the bill, in my opinion, to get rid of 20 million plus people's health care. Yeah. Because the majority of people are fine with it. Now, if you guys remember what Joe Biden was running on, he was saying he wanted to fix the issues that they had, whatever they were. And again, you have to remember, when there's something new, a lot of times you got to deal with it to kind of work out the kinks. I mean, they recall cars all the time, like, oh, take that back. Guess that mirror's not working. You got to, because you got to work out the kinks. You can't. It's not going to be perfect. From what it seems like, the majority of people are okay with it. The majority of Americans.
Yeah, I would say the biggest issue is a lot of the Americans who are a little better to do want to be able to keep their private health care. That's it. They want a public option.
But that's what they're going to do. He wants to add that. He wants to add that.
So I don't even. But I was gonna say I don't understand why he's trying to start. But we know it's literally anything that's for Obama's legacy. Trump was here to destroy it.
Right. He didn't do the wall. He wasn't able to do that. He did little stuff here and there with executive orders. The ban, he didn't really do it how he wanted to. Things he ran on, and this was like that last ditch, like I'm gonna repeal and replace, and he wasn't able to do that.
And to go back to the previous segment where Dame talked about Biden's first 100 days, I don't know if people, one of the things he did say he was going to do is overturn everything that Trump overturned from Obama. So all those his executive summary, I'm thinking about cop shit. All those executive orders that Trump overturned from the Obama administration, he's going to turn back. And Simone Sanders said that they were going to implement that law enforcement task force that Obama had, that and they was going to bring back the consent decrees. Good. So I just thought about that because I saw her interview on I think she was getting interviewed by Jake Tapper this past weekend, and she said that. So that's some more stuff.
She did say that. I remember that. She did say
that's some good first 100 day stuff. And I want to move to the next topic. I want to talk to my black ladies on the panel. I want to talk to Sheila. I want to talk to Chandra, and I want to get your reaction. We're gonna start with you, Sheila. We're gonna get your reaction to Eva Longoria letting y'all motherfuckers know that the real heroines of the election was the Latina women, not you. Go ahead.
The Momento Latino.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Momento Latino. I mean, I'm just at a point right now where I can't even hate on everybody else's gangster. I'm just calling on black people to step up and be as gangster as everybody else. Like it is just like, yeah, you're kind of overstepping. Like it wasn't just y'all. Like we really the ones who stepped up and saved this election. But I mean, hey, we all did it together. But I need black people to come together and step forward and speak loudly the way that we keep seeing other people jump ahead of us in the line, whether it's Latino folks. It's not that they don't deserve rights, but I'm sorry. We got some stuff that they need to clarify for us first. We had the LGBT folks who jumped ahead of us in the line. It's not that they don't deserve rights. We've been in this line a long time, and we keep politely letting people step in front of us and take credit for stuff and get the benefit of stuff. And we just need to get together and gangster up and make
did
sure
you
that
see
our
the
voices
apology
are
too?
heard.
What did you think of the apology in the walk back, Sheila?
No, I can't speak on the apology.
Chandra,
I didn't see the apology.
Give me your thoughts. What's your feels? I see it all in your face. Give me your thoughts and what's your feels on the Eva Longoria statement. If you will.
I agree with Sheila in the instance that there are 75 million of us that are the MVPs. Okay, 75 million of us. We can all share that we did it. Okay, but there's about a 90% population that
the only 90% population.
In anything.
The only 90%.
And even the Republicans, like Quinn said, they don't even get that with their people. So
Republicans don't get 90% of the white vote.
Right. So when he pointed that out, I was like, boom. And again, the 80% are like they don't even get that. The men. So a couple months ago, maybe, I don't know, when Joe Biden made a comment about basically Black people, their votes, like we're like monolithic, like we, and everybody was all up in arms about it. When in reality, the statistics show that it's true. We don't have, when you look at the Latino vote, we were just talking about that in different regions. Yes, okay, Arizona, boom, y'all saved over here the Native Americans, over here the Puerto Ricans, this and that. Yes, good, great. But when you look at the numbers and the statistics, this is why he stood up there and he recognized that, because okay, I just saw, okay, not only from saying, oh, you're trying to mute your mic, okay, not only from saying that the African American community saved his campaign to, just continue to do it. It's true, like statistically it's true. And that's not to take away from anybody who has helped but the consistency statistically has been there. Now, of course, she walked it back because she got a little bit of flack. But my God, can we have like 5 minutes of recognition? I mean, it took for us to save a campaign, the Black women in South Carolina, yes. And you know what? I'm going to say this: the representative, the majority whip, the Black man, he was like, "Look, Biden, you need to come over here. You need to get these Black women. You need to figure it out." Black women in the church asked me who I was voting for. I said Biden. They were like, "Okay, I'm rolling with you." South Carolina saved his primary. So again, working together. This is who we are consistently. If you guys are going to be like if that consistently or feel like this is okay. But consistently, this is where we've been. So give us our 5 minutes. Thank you. Have a nice day.
And that's that on that. I mean, I feel like I don't even gotta step in and say nothing else about it because y'all said it all. That's the way I felt about it. I'm gonna leave it right there at that. You want to say something, Quincy?
I was gonna say it struck a nerve with our VP because she definitely said something about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I told people I'd never seen a vice president directly say, "I'm talking to Black women directly."
I'm talking
to
y'all. Yeah.
I'm talking to y'all directly. You did this. And I know people say, well, you know, Black people, they depended on Black people again. Well, I think they understood. I think we all learned a lesson from 2016. We learned the lesson as far as Black folks, because you know the lesson for us. Sometimes you have to look deeper than top of the ballot. Mm-hmm. You got to pay attention. Like, okay, in this particular election, we should have been looking more of a Supreme Court controlling the courts, not letting Trump get to those courts, versus just being completely focused on Hillary. Because we're talking about possible 4 years versus 30 years. That was our lesson. Democrats learned the lesson. If niggas don't get out and vote, we don't win.
Period.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's the lesson. And you saw when we don't get out and vote in 2016, you saw in 2020, when we do get out and vote, and then this time we was a little bit more loud. We was about how we felt and why we didn't go out and vote in 2016. That's why you had a Democratic debate talking about reparations. Because we was a little bit more loud about how we felt.
And I was gonna say, Quincy, too, and for the first time, I think they saw the threat of us leaving as a real threat. I think for the first time they saw, even if we don't leave, we just say we stand at home.
Yeah, that's what we did in 2016, and we saw they got the results, and that's why when they were trying to figure out how to get us back out again, that's why you had debates on TV talking about reparations. That's why you had different candidates coming out with a Black agenda. I never seen so many. Bloomberg had a Black agenda. Andrew Yang had a Black agenda. That's why when people be like, "Well,
Bloomberg had a damn good Black agenda too."
Yeah, I mean, that's why when certain folks come out, oh, where was this person Black agenda? Like these motherfuckers debated on their Black agenda. Like where were y'all? And then black women made it be known, like, hey, we saved you. We need that VP spot.
Yeah.
So we saved you in the primaries. We need you. We want some representation in that VP spot. That was heard. Why? Because they felt the consequences in 2016. And then Biden even went even further. He said, shit, if that come out, I'll give y'all Black Supreme Court justice too.
Yeah.
And so
let me ask y'all this. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. I thought you were.
No, go ahead. And so just real, so just real quick, they have felt and seen what happens when we don't turn out, what happens when we do turn out. That's why now, and Dan, we talked about this, that the second Black person, vice president or president, will be able to get away a little bit more than Obama. Obama could never come out and say, hey, Black people, I'm talking to you. Y'all did this shit. He couldn't. They would have had a fucking fit if he
That
had.
shit would have felt good though.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna
Couldn't
lie.
do that. But because of the circumstances now, the situation, Kamala could actually do that. And you actually had white people, you actually had other races on there, like, yeah, black women did do that shit.
Right.
Because now
But we got to give it up to Black Twitter too, though. I mean, let's tell the truth. Black Twitter is the most official, petty, fact checking on your ass.
they
But
drag-
Black Twitter don't let
they drag
nothing
her-
Hey,
slide.
boy, hey,
Drag
Ron,
her, bro.
they jumped on Eva Longoria ass like piranhas.
Man,
That's why
it-
he came
it-
back.
Y'all never said what she said in the apology.
Okay, so yeah, let me go to that. I'll go. So
Yeah.
I will say
She lied. That's what she said.
right.
Yeah, she lied.
So she did a one apology. She did the one non-apology. I'm sorry if I hurt feelings. She did that one
I'm
first.
sorry if you feel bad for
I'm
what
sorry
I
if
said.
you feel bad for what I said. I don't know who got a hold to her ass. I think she like tight with Gabrielle Union and a couple other black actors, and I think they didn't got a hold to her because she came out the second time like black women have been erased so many times, and I'm so sorry that I was a part of that pain. I should have never said what I
They
said.
wrote that shit for her.
Oh yeah,
No,
like
she said she wasn't. She said she wasn't talking about. She was talking about within the community, the Latinx community, like
Men, Latin
women
men,
are the ones
yeah.
that turn up, and we got to work
Right.
on the Latin
Yeah,
men.
that was
Like
a
some
lie.
BS.
She was not talking.
well, Chandra, that's what she said in the first one. The second one, she scratched all that. Second one,
Second one, it was the second one. It was the oppression paragraph.
yeah.
She released a rough draft, and then she released the actual. Somebody let her get hold of the rough
No, she
draft.
thought she was gonna get away with that. She thought she was gonna get away with that little excuse of I was talking about
Twitter was like,
the Latino.
nope.
But I'm
Like, no, you weren't.
the
Eva.
reason she couldn't get away with that because she used the specific words. But
No.
she said black women came out, but
No, hold on.
Latino women are the real heroines.
Hey, no, hold up. She said black women in Georgia. She said black women in Georgia. She said black women in Georgia did their thing, but
yeah.
wait a minute, like.
See, I didn't hear the full thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I heard the comment immediately, because of what goes on here in New York and how I know the Latino household and whatnot, I automatically knew that she was talking about Cuban men and men in general, and her reference was to the women in the community. I didn't necessarily think if it was from a grand scope until everyone started commenting on
And I was
it.
gonna say, Mars, you probably were the only one that thought that. Because when I read that, I was like, "Ooh,
No,
what?"
well, I saw the interview. So
Yeah, me too.
So the interview was very dismissive.
Yeah.
So she was like Latino women. She's like black women did their thing in Georgia, but Latino women, blah blah blah. I was like, wait a minute, bitch.
Hey man, I was trying to help you all out.
You were trying to help her out because she's cute, but she was wrong.
I didn't say shit. I said they finna tear her ass up. I'm
Hey,
finna watch it.
let me tell you, I was on Twitter all night crying, laughing like I'm watching the TV show at the different tweets. And Gina Rodriguez, they dragged her ass right back in. They're like, oh, look at Eva Longoria on her Gina Rodriguez.
Right?
energy.
Because she'll do that quick. She's quick to do. I'm surprised she haven't said nothing. She haven't said nothing since her last.
Oh no, she been quiet. She been quiet as a church mouse, right? She ain't coming out for this. Sheila, I know you said you had a question. I want you to ask us. What's the question?
The question that I had is, do you guys think that Biden will add another Supreme Court appointee? Because I don't see why he wouldn't. As soon as Republicans get back in, that now that they understand, the one thing that I appreciate about Trump at this point is he has drawn a very specific line between what we thought was law and like what was required and certain things that are just done as a courtesy or
Amen.
that are typically done.
Amen.
So he blew up a lot of our illusions there. That's one thing I got to give him props for. And so we both know that
He's like a tax lawyer. He finds all the loopholes.
Well, somebody finds the loopholes for him.
Right.
He can't find shit. So my question is, do you think that Biden will appoint another Supreme Court justice? And don't we need to get to work on pushing to make sure that that is a black woman?
I think, well, it's gonna go down to that Senate seat because you can't if McConnell is still in charge of the Senate, it's not gonna matter who the hell.
You're not gonna get the votes
because they're gonna do the same thing. They like look once again because see, I'm big on learning our lessons from the past. Mitch McConnell has already put out what the fuck he's gonna do.
Not a damn thing.
He did the same thing with Obama. I don't know. We wasn't paying attention. Motherfuckers wasn't listening. He said what he was going to do. He said what his goal was. My goal is to make him a one-term president. My goal is to do this. My goal is to make sure he don't do this. He's done this shit again. He's even telling Biden he's going to have to negotiate his cabinet members.
Mitch is like 100 though. Hopefully he just dropped dead.
Man, racist motherfuckers don't die. They DNA is off the chart.
He's literally rotting from the inside out, and he's still terrorizing us.
There's something that racism does to your immune system that just
they buy new hearts.
That shit is off the. So I do believe that because Biden would do it because. There's people. See, people always ask me, "Where is my support of Biden come from?" I trust the people who you put around you. Like I could tell off the back, Trump was gonna be a motherfucker once he made Steve.
Bannon.
What's his name? Steve Bannon.
Reaper. Yeah.
I was like, oh, we in trouble. We in trouble. But
he showed his play right away.
Yeah. But I've been posting. I didn't post about 10 black women that has Joe Biden's ear over the past 3 or 4 days, and that's what I trust. What they need to do though, if they do win the Senate, they need to go to Stephen Breyer, who's 82 years old, and say, "Hey, you need to resign because we can't do what happened with RBG did." Obama went to RBG. And asked her to step down. She was like, "No," because she wanted
to wait till Hillary.
She thought Hillary was gonna win.
She thought Hillary was gonna win. And
we all did.
Yeah, but
no, we all didn't.
I said no, we didn't.
Been a conversation.
When you're past 80 years old and you didn't fought cancer 275 times and you're 300 years old,
your body's like, no, nigga.
And just
it ain't like she was new.
Like shit. I'm scared that Justice Breyer might die between now and January. Because if you don't think they're gonna
stress the motherfucker out.
Look, he 82 years old.
They will be scared.
The moment Biden take over, he needs to step down, and Biden needs to appoint the black woman that he wanted to appoint into that position, because you can't take another chance 4 years from now and a Republican get in office. Justice Breyer is 86 years old and then he died. Boom. I'll go another.
Yeah, we got now upstairs. Yeah.
But if we really, like I said, those Senate seats, if you got people in Georgia, you got friends, homegirls, cousins, exes, I don't give a fuck. Call them.
Exes.
Freak Nick. They need to have Freak Nick.
Look.
Are you a Freak Nick?
Hey, if you find out, if you find out your real daddy was a nigga, a Freak Nick, call him too. I don't care. We have to get those Senate seats. If we really want change, we have to understand how the system works, and then we can hold Biden and Kamala feet to the fire, because they're gonna have about 18, 24 months to really get some shit done before the midterms come. And then
they hit it again then too.
And then the midterms is going to be huge, because you have more winnable Senate seats. These seats was in more red states.
Red states. Yeah.
Those seats would be in some red states, but it would be in places like Ohio, places like that, which they
good races.
So
good races.
But if you want real change, we got to win the Senate, because if you're not, we're gonna be right back to where
we was gonna rig something, Quincy. Wouldn't we want to be rigging this?
Right.
I just say like if you were gonna rig something,
this is shit to rig right here.
Rig to rig, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you know what? If you rig the House and the Senate and Trump wants to get reelected, his ass is gone.
He'll do whatever, yeah.
Right.
He'll be gone less than a month, because they have the House to impeach him again, and the Senate would convict him, and he'll be out.
Yeah. He's like, I concede. Like what you won, President. Like, no, I concede.
Yeah.
I still don't think that there's anything. I think he's going to try to flee. Just my personal opinion. I'm always the more conspiracy theorist. I think that he has so many lawsuits that are going to slap him as soon as he walk outside of the door, The state of New York is coming after him so hard.
I'm about to say, fuck them lawsuits. He got some
He
criminal
doesn't really have money to fight
He
the
about to get sick.
battles.
I'm telling y'all right now, he about to
He
get
doesn't
sick.
have money to fight the legal battles that are ahead of him. I think
What
he's going to try
he's
to
about to get sick.
away.
He's gonna be like an old Italian mafia boss. He's gonna get sick and be blind. I can't go, Your Honor.
I think his real mission is still that he's working for Putin. I think that that was the only reason for those lawsuits that he put in place was to make sure that this line is very hard between us and make sure that he sparks a civil war. I think that's really a goal. I don't think he ever intended to win any of those cases.
That's not a far-fetched thought, because I've actually was reading this morning where there's government officials think Trump is going to start giving out our secrets.
Yeah.
So selling them, at least selling them.
I said the same thing. I think he's going to start selling them. God damn it.
Yeah.
This fucking ghost.
Hey, you tell the truth. Every time you start talking that knowledge.
I definitely think I think he's gonna try, but I think they more on his ass. If you think Trump shit ain't bugged right now,
they be showing that nigga Dr. Seuss.
He thought they was spying on his ass before.
I agree, Ron. I don't think they tell that fool stuff. I think they
don't show him everything.
I don't think he knows. Like,
tell him what they need him to
I
say.
don't even think, I don't even think he has the real nuclear codes. He don't have the real nuclear codes.
I believe that too.
Remember the time that he freaked out of nowhere and was like, "We need to get a space force." That's when he found some information where they showed
that nigga ET. They showed that nigga ET.
No, nothing after that. No, you know what they're doing? No, you know what they're doing? They tell him like little stuff to be like thinking it's real, but they handling the real stuff like the real grown-ups are handling the stuff. I don't think he knows.
But some of it has come to his ears and still could be enough.
Because the Space Force, that sounds like something from a movie.
That sounds like he saw proof that there's aliens out there and it freaked him out.
Yeah, because they showed him ET. They showed him ET, and he's like, "Oh my God, the United States is alien."
They in like '86. They didn't have an ET
He fucked up. He fucked up.
You don't know the real stuff. You don't know
he fucked up when he had Russia in the White House and he actually told them some secrets. Right. I think
that's his book.
I think at that point they start giving him fake shit.
Telling him nothing.
Yeah.
I think what you guys also have to understand is that Trump is a businessman. This motherfucker got 71 million people following him. Earlier this week, there was talks about this Trump TV. 70 million people. Okay, let's say it's not even the full 100. Wait, let me finish, Ron. Let me finish. Let's not even say that it's the whole 71 million. You just take 30% of that. Okay, what is that? Like 20 something?
Like 20, yeah.
Like 21 million? You have Trump TV and you charge motherfuckers an additional $10 plus your rallies. Do you know how much money this motherfucker is going to be making? And do you know how many people are going to be aligned to ensure that they get a piece of that pie? He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, what? No,
he's like a wart.
$300 million in debt.
Right.
Hemorrhoids.
He can easily make, if he really launches this business venture that I've been hearing, he can easily get that money within 3 months.
Doesn't matter. He'll burn it. He do stuff like buying 15 gold.
Oh, I agree.
He's never made money. He's terrible with it.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying if he's a smart businessman looking at what I'm not giving him the benefit of doubt that he's smart and he's gonna do that. I'm saying if I was that motherfucker in his shoes and I had 71 million people behind me, best believe Mars TV, Mars Rally, Mars merchandise. Do you know how much shit?
He's still gonna do that. He gonna have all the rallies, all that shit. He gonna be like a shadow president.
No, but
whatever Biden do, he gonna be on Twitter talking about the shit.
Oh, I agree. Which is why like this whole the whole politics has just whet his appetite. He's not going anywhere. He understands the control that he has over the Republican Party, and the fact that his kids now all of a sudden want to be aligned with the RNC.
They need to make a Trump movie because this dude is American Gangster, the OG. I've never seen this level of gangster in my entire life.
This isn't.
He got them so fucking shook. These motherfuckers telling Democrats, "Hey, just tell Joe Biden congratulations for me."
Yeah, for real. Because they on TV like, "Oh no, bro, it's still up in the air."
He got them so punked and shook. I was like, "What type of shit is this?"
They don't want to get fired. They want their job until they find out what's going on there.
Oh, but how messed up is it that he told his staff, if I hear any of you are going out for interviews, I'm gonna fire you.
Yeah. But did you see what Michael Cohen said? Michael Cohen said he's going to go. Trump is probably going to go to his property in Florida, and then he ain't going to return back to the White House.
You think so?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening.
I think he's going to go to his property in Afghanistan and not return to the White House.
Because I think that he is not going to want to get humiliated. Having a Secret Service escort his ass out the White House, like
as much as we want to see it.
But here's the thing, though. Doesn't it make you nervous that he's actually replacing all those top heads with his people?
Yeah, but that's only to make noise, but because he can't like the people that he can replace. Those are people that Biden. If he can do it, then Biden can do it.
But here's the thing, Chandra. We've always made this assumption, like, nah, he's not going to do that. Nah, he's bigger than that.
Oh
nah,
no,
whoever said I've never heard Trump
this motherfucker
might have a gun on TV right now.
But these are people that he's been wanting to fire, but they told him if you fire them before the election, you're gonna lose. So now, like the Secretary of Defense, he mad at him because
he disagreed with him.
Yeah, because Trump wanted him to put the troops on Black Lives Matter protesters, and dude was like, "I'm not doing that shit."
Well, no, he did do it. He just said he felt like it was a mistake that they did it.
No, that wasn't the troops. That's the police.
Okay, let me double check and make sure I'm not. But I thought I saw where he said that they had started using the military force against some of the protesters, and he was stating his regret for that decision, and that's why he got fired.
You could be right. I don't know.
I think so. I think Sheila's correct. I think Sheila's correct when he did the photo shoot with the upside down Bible. Yeah, Sheila's correct. That's what happened.
God.
Hey, you couldn't make this shit up. But so I wanted to ask y'all about this before, I see Jamal. Yeah, man, it's the last show of the year. Jamal Brown said last show of the year. So seeing that this is the last show of the year, seeing that we have the Democratic president that we voted for to get in to start trying to hold people accountable for the things we're doing. I have asked all of you to give me a 10-pronged plan for what you think Black America needs. So before we get out of here, I wanted to talk to you guys about that because I want to let everybody watching Uncouth Radio know we've been talking about taking Uncouth farther than just being, a podcast now. Now we really want to get into these political spaces and we really want to get into Black agendas and we really want to make moves for our people. So one thing I want to touch on is, like I touched on earlier, white supremacy don't care about Republican and Democrat. All right. Like we have to really, really be clear. That's why certain things we have to do that we have to know are about us and for us. And we have to be vigilant in that. And we have to be vigilant and not falling into the only, Republicans are racist, because I know a lot of racist Democrat. And I said this once and I got a lot of flack for it, but it's the truth. If you go look at a whole bunch of them Karens that call police on Black people, a lot of themselves considered themselves liberal. A lot of them were liberal white women who considered themselves allies to us until a Black man scares them, right? So I want us to be clear that we can't get caught up in the notion of we got to back Democrats because they not the racist ones, because that's not really how it works. It's just like Quincy always say, Republicans don't care about being loud with theirs. They don't care about being overt, where a lot of the Democrats, like those Karens I told you about, are covert, right?
I think even Pelosi, to an extent, she got some suspect ways.
She been saying some suspect shit. Her, Dianne Feinstein, and they all over. They all.
Definitely Feinstein.
Hey, I don't trust none of them white women over Waterhole's age. If you,
Right.
they over
That's
Waterhole's
what they
age.
grew up in.
Yeah, they over Waterhole's age. I ain't trusting too much. So what I want to say is this. You guys all sent me your plans, and they were really great 10-prong plans. Like each of you said a lot of things that were similar, but each of you said a lot of things that were extremely different. One of the things that I saw throughout all of y'all plans was healthcare for Black people and medical racism, right? Like trying to end those disparities between us and everybody else when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to Black infant mortality and all of those things. So those things are really important. But also we want to be able to speak to and reach to all of those. We need to find a way to reach back to those Black men that have money, those Black women that have money, that have been disenfranchised by the Democratic Party, and figure out why they thought it was a better move to vote for Trump. Why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are things I think we actually need to explore when we talk about trying to put together a Black coalition, because I know a lot of Black people with a lot of money voted for Trump, and I don't think it was just an individualistic thing, honestly. I think they have saw some things that we probably didn't see, that we might have some blind spots on when it comes to what the Democratic Party was offering them. And I think we need to explore that. And I think we need to sit down and try to bridge that gap with those people, because we got to get together first overall before and over anything. We got to figure out how to get together first. And we got to figure out how to use our own capital to make some of these moves. Like, it's good that we have, Kamala in the White House, and, we are hoping for some things to happen there. But also, we have to continue to put boots to the ground. We have to continue to push our own pressure. We have to continue to take this political capital that we have now built in this moment and move it and use it to thrust us forward as a people. This is the moment where we don't relax and say, because I think, me and Quincy talked about this often. A lot of us voted for Obama and relaxed, like, woo, we did it. And then come back out and give them a Congress or Senate to make the moves that we needed. But a lot of that is based on, and it's just one of the things that was in some of our 10-prong programs, a lot of us just don't know this system to manipulate it. And one thing I've seen, like the fact that Quincy said there hasn't been a Republican who's won a popular vote in over 30 years, or almost 20 years, something like that, is because they know how to write and redraw those districts. They know how to redraw to get those electoral, like they know the system. And we can't say, well, the system don't work, because they found a way to get that shit working for them. Right. And if they found to get and they are not going to be the majority for too much longer. So if they're not going to be the majority for too much longer, I think it's on us to educate ourselves about the system, so we can start manipulating the system for ourselves, so we can start manipulating the system to get legislation in place to help us economically, to help us educationally, to help us with healthcare, because those are all the things that are vastly and greatly touched by systemic racism at this moment. And if we want to try to overcome those things, we have to do the things, because I've been seeing there's this big disconnect between people who consider themselves activists and people who consider themselves voters, when I feel like we need all of them. We need the people who are activists and boots on the ground to bring awareness to stuff. But after you bring awareness and everybody knows that Black Lives Matter, we need legislation to now reflect that. So we need both of those things, and we need to stop treating them as two different separate things, right? Because those are things that we need to have all together moving forward in order for us to make some real positive change for us as a people. And in order to do that, if we want to help those all the way at the bottom, if we want to help those people who are really poor, we want to help those people who are stricken with poverty, we have to touch all of those things that affect them before it gets there. It's hard to make them want to care about voting when all they can think about is how they're going to put some food in their stomach. And I get that. But in order to get there, we do have to educate ourselves. Those of us who don't have to worry every night about how we put in food in our stomachs, that means we got to put on for them, right? That means we got to make sure we find a way to try to educate them too. Like, look, I know you're hungry. I know shit is bad right now, but we need you to learn this so we can move as a unit. So when we move, we can all help everybody. And we're not trying to have a trickle down. We're trying to have a trickle up. We're trying to figure out how to help the bottom and move the economy up in that way. But in order to do that, we have to do certain things and put certain things in place so people just know the basic shit of how this country operates, which is why we're putting together an uncouth civics class for adults. We want adults to come in and learn civics, because I had so many people, and y'all guys can tell me if y'all had this too. I had so many people texting me and inboxing me about literally just the basics of how government works, how the electoral college works, just how, what propositions mean. And a lot of them don't ask, because they're like, well, I don't want to feel stupid, so I don't want to ask. And I'm like, yo, we got to get out of making people feel ashamed for the education that they don't have, that some of us do have. You know what I mean? Like, we really got to get out of that. And we really got to find a way to say, look, if you don't know, you can talk to me. Inbox me, because that's what I've been doing. Inbox me anything you want, and I'll talk to you. It's not a stupid question, because they like, well, I don't want to ask you a stupid question. Yo, just ask me the question, because if you don't know and you think I got the answer, I want to be able to provide that. And I think we need to try to figure out how to do that on a larger scale. All of us who are educated, all of us who are educators, need to figure out how to take this message and spread it abroad, because there are a lot of people who were voting who literally just didn't understand what they have been voting for. They didn't understand how the electoral actually does make your vote count. And you can really specifically see it here. You know, in this election, you could really specifically see that, oh, those votes really counted towards what was going on in electoral. Like, what's whack about the electoral is how certain places have all this sway. I do agree with that, but I don't agree with that. But also, even if that's the system now, and we know how to use, we need to know how to use it. We know how to manipulate it. We need to know how to utilize those demographics. And like my niece is saying, like, you know, she's like, we got to make it accessible. And that's what I want to do. I want to try to make more information accessible to more people. So if y'all have any suggestions, especially like you, my niece, because I know you're an educator as well. If you guys have any suggestions of how we can do a civics class and make it broader to reach as many people as we can. We want to get teachers. We want to find out how much you guys get paid per hour, pay you a little more to teach these classes and these courses. And then we want to take these courses and put them on Facebook, put them on TikTok, put them on Instagram. You know, we'll do like a full course on Facebook. We'll do a shorter course on Instagram TV, and then do like a 30-second tidbit on TikTok so people can get it. Like, these are the things that we need to do, because I feel like the more we learn, the more, because the other thing that happened is the more people who talk to me and the more that they learned, the more they became engaged. And the more they became engaged, the more information they start seeking out themselves. And the more information they start seeking out themselves, the more we now have more educated voters who knows how, oh, this is how I can vote to actually affect my bottom line, to affect my everyday. Because a lot of people don't see the correlation between voting and what touches their everyday lives. And I used to be like that, but I understand it now, but I want to help more people understand that.
I said to this point, we need to start teaching the 14-year-olds and up right now. Because I was talking to my son, we was talking about the election, and he's like, well, Dad, I'm not, you know, I don't really know too much. I said, well, you got 4 years, because you voting in the next election. You're going to vote for the next president. And I saw the light bulb go off in his head, like, oh, shit. Because he's 15. Next election, he'll be 19. So I said, you'll be voting for the next president. So it's time to have those conversations now. So if you know kids you're around that's 14 and up, because they'll be voting for the next president. If they're 16, they'll be voting in the
midterms.
They 16 and 17, they'll be voting in the midterms. And it's so important, because I've spoken to older Black, you know, I always tend to speak to older Black people to really get the feel of certain times and why things was voted on. And it was so interesting how many Black folks didn't realize that the 3 strikes law was something that was voted on in California. Yeah,
I've had that conversation.
And that's unfortunate, because here we are. Look, the president. Look, of course, the president is important, but where real change is at is those local and state laws. That's where you really make a difference. Those local and state laws. The president tend to set the tone, but how we really going to really make a difference is where it's at locally and statewide. And
that's actually where it directly affects us the most. Like it, you know, there's a lot of those, you know, federal laws, of course, do affect us, but like these propositions, I wanted to talk about the ones that passed and didn't, but those are the ones that are like the rent control one. they didn't, that was voted against.
I don't understand. Well, no, I do understand. It's because of the way that they worded it.
Because of the way that they worded it. But remember, we kind of had a conversation about that, and we just have to keep doing it. We just have to keep talking about it.
But when I hear all these black folks talk about the crime bill, and I said, 3 strikes passed at a 71% pop. What the fuck happened back then?
In the middle of the crack epidemic, right?
So a lot of them said, a couple of people who were like politically aware said, "Oh, it was bad." There's like, but we never foresaw niggas going to jail for stealing a pizza, getting life. Right. We thought we was voting with an element of common sense. Then you had a whole nother group who didn't even know that it was on a ballot.
Yeah.
And that's the concerning part. It's that something like that affect us at that magnitude, and so many black folks back then didn't even realize that was on a ballot.
I talked to a millionaire who didn't get that was something that he was talking like Biden just wrote bills and it was automatically a law.
A lot of people thought that. I was like, that shit was voted on. Like people voted for that. Yeah. So that's the type of things we need to be more educated and aware of. And I, you just don't go in a booth and focus. Oh, I'm voting for the president, and that's it. All that other shit matters too. Like I was telling somebody the other day, everybody complaining about that LA County sheriff here. That motherfucker was voted on in a very liberal state. I mean, a very liberal city. LA County is very liberal. So to have somebody that fucked up, a sheriff elected in our from our county,
we didn't do our homework. Somebody didn't do their homework.
But he didn't have anybody running against him, right?
Yeah, because the other motherfucker is the bastard that fired me. So, but
I thought he ran.
But look, I'm gonna tell you what I've been doing. I know a couple of people who had law enforcement experience that was lieutenants and commanders, and I'm trying to talk to them into running against them. I'm like, hey, if you know somebody that has some type of law enforcement experience, anything that you think is trustworthy, encourage them to run against them, because we just have to start. These are the things that, like Chandra said, that affect us directly. That we have kind of allowed things to slide through because we didn't educate ourselves. Yeah. But definitely we got to start working on our kids, because especially like I said, 14 and up, they'll be voting in the next. You got the 16 and up that'll be voting in the midterms, and the 14-year-olds will be voting for the next president. So
I have two requests. Requests. One was really along those lines, and I commend you for that, Quincy. I'm just asking for everybody to normalize just letting your kids, I don't care if they're 4 and 5 years old, let them sit on your lap if you're at a virtual town hall. I'm asking for everybody to normalize getting involved, letting your children see that you are involved, so that this will be their norm by the time that they get to voting age. They're going to have a lot of town halls coming up. This is going to be really important for us, because as Black folks, as minorities, we have to come together and make sure that we have a clear stance that is together, that we are pushing. And I mean, technology has provided a platform for us to do that. So we really need to come together. We need to stay in touch with what is being pushed, with the proper channels to go through, because you have just even people, like there's money available to get graffiti off of the walls in your neighborhood. I had to tell a lady who parks her car, I'm in a cul-de-sac, she parks her car down here because her car gets broken into in her apartment complex. She didn't even understand that the management is liable for her car getting broken into on their property. You have so many people who really just don't get what their rights are.
They just don't know
how laws work. And we just have to come together and normalize following what's happening, learning everything, that because things are always constantly changing, staying on top of what is changing, staying on top of what we all want together, and staying on top of pushing it. We can't ever sit still again. And the second one is still reserve your energy. You saw that half of this country still voted for Trump. when you get into those conversations and you see that you're talking to somebody who's digging their feet in, no matter how many facts you hit them with, just shut it down, conserve your energy and save it for somebody that you might be able to have a productive conversation with. Don't wear yourself out. Dane was just talking about that the other day. We always trying to change people's hearts. You can't. You try to figure out if you can get whatever you need to get from them, and then you just shut it down and distance yourself, because trying to go back and forth with these ignorant people who have their feet dug in, who's looking at a dude who's a criminal, who don't pay taxes, who's a sex offender and all this stuff, and still saying, hey, I ride with him because I don't believe in abortion. I mean, you're not going to get too far with a conversation there. So please just conserve your energy, put it into where we need it with making change, and just try to stay focused on it.
You know what was crazy to get to Dane's point about trying to have discussion with black people who voted for Trump. I know I talked to somebody like they voted for Trump because they against gays. Mm-hmm. What type of shit?
Maybe one topic.
Yeah,
one topic. Well, like, bro, that's it. So
that's all it takes. Yeah.
So you fucking with racism because you hate gay people that much? I was like, are you gay? You're like, no. I said, so who they fucking who? It don't even concern you, and you gonna roll with all the other shit that like directly affect you. That's the type of shit I haven't really grasped myself around.
Yeah.
Don't try. Your brain's gonna blow up. We need your brain, Quincy.
I was like, so that's it. I was waiting for something else. I said, so why you voting for Trump? It's like, because you know, Democrats support that gay shit, and I was like, I'm waiting for something else. Like,
that's it.
And when
Democrats support it, Republicans are, in the closet. So
bro, I was like, that's it. Like, so you gonna give us to the slave owner, to the Klan? This motherfucker don't like. I was like, dude, this is wild, And so it's and then I don't know. We really talked about it, but some black man with the Kamala Harris shit is disturbing.
Well, a lot of that is like straight misogyny shit. It like a lot of that shit is like, and I've seen it. Like you've seen on some of my posts when the way dudes talk about her, I'm like, where does all this vitriol and venom? Like, I don't see you talk about no other politician like this, and we talk about politics all the time. But every time we talk about this, you get on here talking about F that traitorous B, this, that. Yeah, there's like a certain different disrespect you give her. But we've seen this, and I've said this. I've seen this from men and women when it comes to Kamala. Just this misinformation. This like even the dude posted a video I sent y'all where he's talking about y'all voted Trump is the best thing for us, and y'all voted Kamala in. Kamala got me in jail. But mind you, he was guilty of it, and he just thought his sentence was, his sentence was long. But also, I want to find. But also, I want to find this case. I want to see if she actually prosecuted it, because like people be saying that like she was a prosecutor, but a lot of these cases, she was the head prosecutor. She wasn't specifically prosecuting these cases herself.
So when he was 14, wasn't he?
Yeah, because she didn't prosecute juvenile cases. Right. Never.
Well, the thing that got me, I had one dude down here. He said he mentioned the same thing. He's like, she got me and my boys thrown in jail. Like, well, did you do the shit? First of all, like, let's start right there. Did you actually commit the crime? Because if you actually committed the shit, then we.
Well, technically, but it's still in process. So I can't say.
That's part that got me. I said so. Like what happened? So when he was telling me the situation, and he was saying he was on Jefferson in Normandy, I'm like, wait a minute, nigga. She was the DA in San Francisco.
That part.
You had LA niggas talking about.
She said the Attorney General of the state prosecuted my one case. The Attorney General of the state prosecuted a minor petty crime.
LA County talking about she threw them in jail. Like, nah, she was the DA in San Francisco, nigga. Like, she didn't throw you in jail. You committing crimes on Jefferson and Normandy.
You have a warrant in San Francisco? I was like, what?
So I already kind of. So that's what I asked. I said, oh, so like. Did something happen in Frisco? Like, he's like, Frisco? I was like, yeah, because like she was a DA up there. He's like, oh, I said, yeah, like that.
They could have said some Joe Garcetti or something.
I said you was prosecuted by the DA down here.
Joe Garcetti or something like that. Yeah.
But Quincy, wasn't he serving you that she threw us in jail like it was some factual shit?
He had. Oh no, I don't want to hear it because she threw me and my boys in jail. It was a little situation
after we killed him.
I knew the nigga was guilty. It was a little situation on Jefferson.
A little situation.
You couldn't even tell me you did it, nigga. All right,
niggas already minimized this shit. Little shit. Nigga got murdered. 3 people. 2 people were injured.
Boy got this, and I got it. And I said, so like, did it start off in San Francisco? Cause I was trying to connect the dots.
Make it make sense. So y'all drove from San Francisco here.
I was
and got caught here.
I said, nah, bro. I said, what year? So the year was consistent with her being a DA.
Like, well, that was 68.
So,
but I'm just saying, yes.
So basically, what happened? He brought this story up, and there was somebody else, and somebody was like, "Yeah, bro, she threw you in jail." So he rolled.
Yeah.
He rolled with it, and that's the shit we just got to start educating. Like you said, we got to, instead of trying to make him feel dumb, because in my head I was like, "You dumb motherfucker," but I use that as like, no, this is how that happened. Like each, county, it's a district attorney.
Yeah, that district.
That area.
That area. There's district and attorney. So the attorney in that district, that's who you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Not her. Now I said, if you want to make an argument when she was attorney general, because she was over the state, then we could kind of debate that. So I said, but what you talking about? No. I said she was the district attorney in San Francisco. So I said, but then I said, even then, I said, if you had a problem with her as attorney general, you could have had people tell, don't vote for her, because you vote the attorney general in. I said, so all these people who have all these problems with her, but she studies, she climbing up the ladder.
Exactly.
I heard stupid stuff like, she would be acting like she wasn't even black when she was at Howard. I'm sorry, you mean when she was at a historically black university and a black sorority? She was.
Well, even more than that, like I had somebody like they was like, I don't fuck with Kamala because she wrote the 3 strike laws. I was like, from college, she was in college when that shit dropped. Like, she wrote 3 strikes from college, bro.
Hey, Dave, you saw it on my page.
Yeah.
The nigga said, what he say? I can't. He said, Obama helped Biden write the 3 strikes law.
Yeah.
And I had to tag Damon Chan. I said, yes, read this shit because I just read it. And Obama was teaching at Chicago University in 1993.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that information gets out and it becomes real to people. So that's why I say we got to do what we got to do to teach civics, just so they can even understand just the basic system, right? Because I think a lot of that comes down to them. You wouldn't be able to tell that to somebody who knew the system, right? Like, you wouldn't be able to say Kamala threw you in jail, and they like, nah, because she's the district attorney. If they understood that, right? A lot of people don't understand district attorney. A lot of people don't understand the AG of the state. A lot of people don't understand even what those positions outside of president, vice president, senator mean. Account, like after senator, a lot of people don't know what the councilmen mean, what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so these are the things we want to do. We teach the class, the Uncool Civics class, because we want to get everybody a little more engaged. So that's what I all that to say this. And Chandra, we got 10 minutes to get out of here. This is our last show, so we got a whole bunch of great things that between now and January that we're gonna have brewing. Y'all gonna see some posts on my page asking y'all questions. Please get engaged, because we're trying to put together some things for our people and some things that we really want to do to move the needle. Chan, we behaved enough to get a DM. Did we behave enough?
We need a DM. We need a good one.
Nope.
We need a DM to go out. We need to
Trump ain't conceded. You don't get a DM till Trump.
I have a DM, but I feel like really stupid because we've been like really educational, and that's what I feel about the DM. Like we having these conversations, and then now I'm like,
bad and bougie.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
That's
Now
why
I'm like, we're
Hey,
like,
Rob,
oh, the
I don't ever want to
electoral
hear you say
college.
bad and bougie
Oh,
again.
oh, the electoral college. Oh, the Constitution. Oh, what would you do if you found another man's penis downloaded to your man's cell phone? Oh,
Wait, what?
People got to know that we
Wait,
real. People
what?
got to know we real. Yeah.
I'm voting for Trump. After
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
Okay, read it
Damn, for real.
Rewind.
in the words of a Kojic pastor.
Wait a
Read.
minute. No. I want.
Read.
That nigga gay.
Wait for Sheila.
Right.
Rosie cooking, yay!
Everybody.
I didn't have to say it.
All right. Go ahead, Chad. Go
but
ahead.
you know, the problem with you is like that's your solution for every DM. Like,
Yeah.
like what?
You
My
want a
husband
strawberry
wants to-
milkshake.
my
You want a
husband
strawberry
wants to move-
milkshake. He didn't like
my husband
vanilla.
wants to move my mother-in-law in the house because she just had like cancer. You're like, he's gay. Like everybody, he's like,
He
okay.
gay.
But this
Hey,
one,
Sheila.
no.
Hey, Chandra. Sheila be like, he ate 3 pieces of pie with a fork and not a spoon. That nigga gay.
But Sheila, in the spirit of this being the last one, he's gay. Okay, I'm gonna read it again. What do you do?
What is they would say?
What do you do if you find another man's penis picture downloaded to your man's cell phone? Now, I'm just gonna say this. Okay?
Why she gotta ask?
That's what
But
I'm
no,
saying. Why is this
This is
even
the issue. This is the issue.
besides leave?
This is the issue. The issue is, besides it being in the phone, it's downloaded. Like I don't download. I only download the important stuff. The rest of the stuff is in my, it's in my little whatever
My
chat.
hidden folder. My hidden chat.
But I don't download.
That means he needed to see it later.
I
Yeah.
don't download everything.
Channel
Okay.
ain't giving out her secrets. You gotta
So
save
that's
it in the DM chats.
Yeah, that's part of his spank bank.
Spank,
Wait, you said spank bank.
bank. That's how nigga always is.
Hey, so is she asking how should she approach it? What should she say to him?
She just said, "What should she do? What do y'all think she should do?
How
What
not
should she
to go
do?
to jail or
Is
what?
move an option?
What
Move.
should she do?
In the
What
words
would
of
y'all do?
Ideal, I think
Wait
you
a
better
minute.
leave.
Wait a minute.
Come
Wait,
along.
Ask him how long he's been gay.
wait. Well, so she's going through dude's phone. So she must have some type of suspicion that he is
He's doing something.
not right.
Well,
So-
well, maybe she thought it was another woman,
Right.
and then she
Got a cold surprise.
She found sausage.
caught that surprise.
So how do you approach that? I once saw a DM where a lady,
Abdullah, I'm not fooling with you.
she found out her dude was cheating. She walked out and like just completely like ignored. She never said anything. She just walked out like reload. She just never said anything to him. She never approached. She never did it. She was like,
She would it do?
I put
no. I'm just saying. Like, so what do you do? Do you like say something to him about it? Is there even a conversation? Because for me, there's not even a conversation about it.
I'm
Do I
put
tell
you
him
this.
like
I would have to set something on fire.
No,
I
the
saw a
thing is,
Told
picture
that
of
nigga.
a man's penis
Why you got a
downloaded
white
on your
dude?
phone?
no,
like-
the thing
Why is he
is,
white?
no, the thing is that she has to look at herself, where she has to understand that she doesn't trust in the individual. If it's at that, I don't need to see it.
It's real.
if
saying
if
it's
she
real.
if she's
He
if
knows
she's
what it looks like. He's
no,
obviously downloaded.
no,
it,
but
so
I'm
he
saying
knows.
but the thing is, she has to look at herself. If it's at that point where she has to go through someone else's phone to see what else is doing, it's not a healthy relationship. You just need to step.
Okay, but okay,
Mars,
all right.
If that's
Okay,
the case,
Mars.
Mars, you know how many unhealthy relationships there are? Somebody going through somebody's
Okay,
phone.
Mars. I
Yeah,
get.
the
I get.
majority of them.
Okay, I
It's,
get that.
it's like
I get
Sheila
that.
said. Sometimes you just got to step away from the bullshit.
Yeah. Okay, but let's say.
That's not one
Let's
of those
say.
times. Sometimes you
I-
gotta
I-
burn shit up and then
And let's say okay, forget it. Maybe she's going, maybe he gave her his phone and was like, "Oh, I need you to send this email for me." I don't know. Maybe she wasn't sneaking through it and she just came upon the picture of the man's penis downloaded.
Okay,
you don't just come
here's the thing. No, let me give you the counter argument. No straight dude is gonna give his phone away to another female to do something with it. Sorry.
Oh no, that's not true.
That's
They
not
do that shit all the time.
Shit, there's simps all over the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
true.
I'm trying.
Yep.
Well, like
I had a relationship where I busted the dude. He gave me the password for his computer when I needed to use it. Like that's how dumb some people are.
like,
That's yeah.
like I'm trying to figure out dude explanation.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the funny part. See, we need Black Twitter to go in on this. You know, they be having those long ass Twitters. We're like, well, what happened?
You're like, well, he thought he
we-
had an STD and sent me a picture of it to see if I
we
could
need,
see anything.
yeah, we need a black movie.
Like look,
So you wonder how I got here, right?
No, my closest homie can't do that. No.
Bruh.
I know people. Look, I know people. I don't know how, but gay dudes got dick pics of them in their phone, and I try to tell player like, hey, you might need to have a conversation with dude because he going around telling people that he got you up in his phone.
Well, he probably got it from the dude. The dude might not be ready to come out.
No, he was like, he did what? I was like, nah, that anger wasn't enough for me.
Yeah, he wasn't mad enough.
He wasn't.
When his grandfather tell you,
he said
It was my
to him.
picture.
shit.
It was my picture.
He was like, no. He was like, he said what? Nah, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. No, that wasn't mad enough for me.
Like, that was him.
You
He
sent
wasn't
that
supposed to be
shit.
sharing that shit.
Yeah, you sent that. You sent that.
You sent that. What? I need to talk to him about that. I don't play that shit. Nah.
We need to have a conversation. We need to have a conversation about this.
He said no. He said no.
Does it matter if it was like a personal pic or like one like from
Oh,
like
Lord.
a porn scene or?
No, not if
No,
he's
not at
down.
all.
Like as you
Not
said,
at
Chandra. Not if it's downloaded into his phone.
The downloaded
Now,
is
that is one. That is the only little tiny loophole I could possibly like. If he ran into some porn that his boy did, like, oh, I have got to get this.
No.
Like,
Nope.
that's
No.
halfway.
Now, let me ask, Shan. Here's the kicker: is he white? Because if he's white, he may not be gay. White people do.
Hey,
dumb
we
shit.
don't read white
Tell it
dudes.
wasn't his penis, it was a different color.
And no, I get you. We don't do that shit. But with white people, I know some dumb white people that do dumb shit.
I don't know if he's white or not. I didn't. The picture wasn't on the
Yeah.
post.
No, I'm talking about the boyfriend, not the.
I don't know. I mean, nobody. You know, I didn't. I don't know.
Well, I was trying to
That's
make a
true.
joke that didn't go over well.
They do.
You know,
They do.
White people do dumb stuff like
They
that.
do a lot, and then a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
they
is
do.
like gay. A
They
lot
do
of stuff
dumb
is
shit
gay.
like that. So
But
Well,
there's no reason why a man's dick should be in your phone.
at all, under any circumstance. Download it, screenshot it, anything.
Download it.
It don't shit. Period.
First of all,
Chandra, thank you for
Right,
that
because
ignorance.
somebody sent you on accident, you deleted.
Thank you for
I'm
that
just
bit.
saying.
Thank you for that ignorance.
I'm just saying. I felt stupid reading it, but you made me so.
Hey, that was the last one of the year. We had to go out. I ain't even gonna say that. We had to go out with a good DM.
Say a bang.
We had to go out with a good DM.
No, once you download something, that means it's important. You got to save your storage. So you know, if you download it, it's for real. It's serious.
Yeah, he was searching for that shit.
I'm thinking left eye, like
That nigga was looking for that. He searched that. That was that.
Man, on that note, Uncouth Radio, we want to thank everybody for joining us. We want to thank
Don't
y'all
forget to
for
vote. Read
Just
the
remember,
propositions.
spank, bang.
Hey, don't forget to vote.
We'll see y'all back in January. You'll start to see some things rolling out from the Uncouth master classes coming soon too, as well. Some things we trying to drop when we come back in January. We coming back with a whole bunch of stuff. You know, we want y'all to be ready. So we gonna be talking. So don't think because we're not doing the show, we're not gonna continue to work, because we still gonna be working. We're gonna still continue to work. I just need a break from all of this political punditry. It's a lot. It's exhausting having to watch all of that stuff so we can make sure that we bring it to you guys and bring it to you correct. It is a lot, and it takes a whole lot of energy.
We do a lot, y'all. A lot.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what in the tank?
Bye, y'all. Uncle Radio. See y'all
Spank,
next time.
bang.